I was supposed to be waking up at 7:30 in the morning. And I realized it was late. I called my supervisor. And I was like, oh, Anthony, please just put on a sick day. I just want to stay home. He said, no, please come to work, because if you don't come to work, nobody wants to do your job. And the reason he said that was because I was the person in charge of cleaning 110 floors of stairs every single day. That is 8:46. I punched my card, and at 8:46, everything changed.
Another plane just hit. Right, oh my gosh, another plane has just hit.
The floor started to shake, giving you the impression that it was an earthquake, because it was shaking, it was trembling, and everybody comes running like crazy. When we got outside, my God, it was chaos. And I look at the street, everybody's looking up with their mouth open like this. And when I look at them, I turn around to see what they were looking, and I said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The people from Windows, the people from Windows. What I meant was the people from Windows of the World, which was the restaurant that was located on the 106th and 107th floor. All my friends were at Windows of the World, at the restaurant, all the workers. And I see the fire, I say, my friends are trapped. And I went back inside the building through the loading dock, through the hill. With this key, I could open everything in the complex, almost everything, all the offices, all the stairs. We found the firemen, and this unit of heroes started to follow me as I started to lead them floor by floor, opening the doors. Until I get to the 33rd floor. It's empty. I look around, the doors were wide open. I turn around the corridor, and what do I find? A lady, red dress, no shoes, blonde lady, shaking on the floor and shaking in desperation. And I said, what are you doing here? And she said, you know, she was a new employee in the building. She didn't know what to do. And I grabbed her, I said, you gotta get out. And I grabbed her, and I brought her to one of the stairwells. And as I get there were people coming down, two guys from the cafeteria that was located on the 43rd floor. And they grabbed the lady, and I see how they disappear down the stairway.
Step back, sir.
The South Tower collapsed already. It created a movement, a sound of movement in our building, and our building we hear, ba, 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 ba. And I asked the police officer, what happened? He said, the 65th floor collapsed internally in the building, floor by floor, up to the 44th floor. He said, what? And I'm on the 39th floor. I said, we gotta go up. He said, no, Willie, it's all debris there. You can't go up. He said, we gotta go up now because my friends are trapped. No, you've done enough. As I go to the main door of the lobby, what do I see? Total destruction. And I turn around, and when I turn around, the only body that I was able to recognize was the body of that lady that I helped from the 33rd floor. I found her cut in half. The building is collapsing. The North Tower is falling. Was a fire truck in front of me. I went right under the fire truck, pieces going down, and until the moment that I get totally trapped under the rubble. And I say, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna die squashed now, but I'm gonna die of asphyxia. When I recovered myself on the ambulance, it changed my life forever, because realizing that I was never able to get to my friends. I have survivor's guilt. Why did I survive and my friends didn't? I lost 200 friends on 9/11. 200 friends that I will never see again.
My name is Abigail Marsh. I'm a professor of psychology and neuroscience at Georgetown University, and I've studied the roots of altruism and compassion in the human brain for about 20 years. Everybody has read about people who save other people's lives. It's something that everybody's familiar with from news stories or movies, but it's completely different, as it turns out, when it happens. The accident happened when I was 19, and as I was coming back into town, crossing up over a bridge, a little dog ran out in front of my car. And the combination of swerving and hitting the dog resulted in my car starting to fishtail across the freeway. I finally came to rest in the fast lane of the freeway. And I just sat there thinking I was gonna die at any minute until out of nowhere, a man appeared at the passenger's side window of my car, and he knocked on the window. He said, "You look like you could use some help." And then got the car running again, gunned us back across the freeway to park behind his own car, which was a BMW, as I remember. I'm pretty sure I forgot to say thank you. And he said, "Okay, you take care of yourself." And then he disappeared, got back in his car, and the night swallowed him up. And I'm certain that he saved my life. I'm interested in the subject because I think it had a really profound impact on me to know that a stranger, by sheer luck, was willing to save my life despite not knowing anything about me, by not even having the good grace to say thank you. And knowing how dangerous what he did was, I think made it all the more impressive. Care or compassion is itself motivated by just the apprehension or the inference that somebody else needs help, right? Somebody's in some sort of distress, they're in pain, they're in danger. And so if we want to understand altruism, why it is that people help strangers, we have to understand the sequence of events that leads from just detecting that somebody is in some sort of distress that leads to care, and that ultimately leads to altruism. Hopefully you remember the key structures that are involved in generating care for offspring, which is really important because we think that it's the capacity of mammals, certainly, to care for their offspring that is the sort of origin of all different kinds of care, all different kinds of care-based altruism in the world.
In the beginning, it was me who insisted on going to see the fireworks. My wife and I quickly ate and then went outside to buy some ice cream.
pour aller manger une glace.
Un témoignage maintenant de celui qu'on a surnommé le héros au scooter. Il s'agit de l'homme qui a tenté d'arrêter le camion fou le 14 juillet au soir. Il a sauté sur le marchepied du poids lourd avant d'être frappé au visage et éjecté.
My wife becomes agitated behind me. She feels some wind getting stronger and stronger. She turns around and she sees a truck on the pavement running people over. By the time I understood what was happening, the truck was driving past me on the pavement, and I decided to drive right after it. My wife starts panicking. She drags me back. She doesn't want me to go. But at the same time, I brake and I tell her to get away precisely. And then I resume the chase on my scooter. I tried to catch up with the truck. The noise, the screams, I mean, this is horrible, horrible. I managed to catch up with it, and I throw my scooter in front of it. I try to throw my scooter in front of it. I fall, I get back on my feet, and I try to run to the cabin. It's like I have some stronger inner strength, and I managed to step on the truck's footboard, and the window's open. And I hit with all my strength in the face. There are no words, only the blows. No screams, nothing. He's moving like crazy, but he's got a gun in his hand. He shoots, but he misses me. And I keep on. I hit, until it stops. I hear gunshots getting closer and closer, and I slide under the truck's front left wheel. And that's when the police catch me. I'm a bit shaken, because I think the police don't know where I came from. And that's it. They handcuff me, they shake me. I hear massive confusion in the police's channels. There's chaos. After that, I'm beat. I'm exhausted for months. I just keep crying. And then around mid-August, it starts to worsen. And then I kind of switch off for about a month and a half. I have a syndrome. It's called sundown syndrome. And I don't remember anything.
This is really kind of an amazing phenomenon at a species level. And so that the even bigger question is, how did we get to the place, biologically speaking, as a species, that, you know, along the course of evolutionary development, we developed the desire to engage in behaviors like these at all? There has to be something in addition to the ability to recognize others' distress and experience care, because all mammals can do that. So what's happening in addition to that? The amygdala means almond in Latin, and it is sort of almond-shaped if you look at it from the side. It's a structure that is underneath the surface of the brain, so it's sort of an ancient structure that we share with all other vertebrate species. And it's maybe about 2 centimeters or so in diameter. And it's a structure that's essential for quite a few different emotional and social processes, but it's particularly important for coordinating the experience of fear. Okay, Kurt, how you doing?
All right.
All right, we're ready to start the first scan. This is just a structural scan that lasts about 4.5 minutes, and you can just lie back and relax and hold nice and still while the scan is running, okay?
Okay, will do.
Perfect. But the group that we settled on for our first research was people who had decided to donate one of their own kidneys to a stranger, which is clearly an extraordinary form of altruism, to undergo surgery, to have a healthy organ removed, to be given to somebody that you've never met and in some cases may never meet. So I looked at how we respond to the sight of somebody else who is frightened. And what we found is that their amygdala was more reactive in response to the sight of somebody else's fear. So they seem to be more responsive to others' distress. So it seems that somehow they're built with brains that are just more sensitive to the sight of other people's need.
I keep seeing in my mind this lady lying on the ground that I managed to avoid. And this'll be forever etched in my memory. That's for sure.
Fear is there. Worry about what's going to happen is there constantly. But compassion is more powerful. You say, okay, this could happen to you, but continue, 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 continue.
When you're in a life or death situation, part of what the amygdala is doing is signaling another region called the hypothalamus to send messages down to actually your kidneys and to the adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys and that release adrenaline and cortisol in stressful situations. It is definitely true that when adrenaline is being released, your body is more capable than it would be when adrenaline is not being released. So that it kind of makes sense that very altruistic people would get an even bigger burst of adrenaline potentially when they're in a position to help.
It was the day before my mother's birthday, and she really wanted to have the family together. She said, well, what about a mountain bike ride? And this region of Canada, specifically in the Rocky Mountains, the weather can change really quickly, and it did. And a storm blew in really, really fast. As we rode our bikes back down the road, we could hear through the trees somebody yelling. We could see that there was somebody in distress in the water, way out in the water, so far that we couldn't necessarily communicate with them. All I could hear was that they were yelling for help. First 100 meters, I would say, I wasn't even able to put my face in the water. I was swimming arm over arm with my face up because it was just too freezing. And I could feel my heart palpitating and I could feel the adrenaline rushing through my system, but I knew that the best chance these people had was for somebody to let them know that it was going to be okay. I believe I swam approximately 15 minutes to the canoe. As I got closer to what I now could see was a couple in the water, but they were so cold. They were both blue in the face. The woman's face was almost purple, in fact. And they had been there for quite some time, it would appear, because they weren't able to speak with me at all. They weren't able to communicate, and they were clearly in shock. I noticed on the front of the canoe, there was a rope. And so I take the rope, I wrap it around my left wrist, even though I can barely feel my hands, and I start to side stroke back to shore, thinking helicopter's going to be here any minute, just hold on, just keep warm as you can, keep exercising. While I was swimming, I was conscious of the fact I can hear my mother yelling support from the shore. I can look up and I can see my father standing chest deep in the water, waiting for me. And I remember feeling that I feel if something happens to me, it would be really, really hard on them to watch the scenario play out. I know that that's a tragedy in the making, to watch your child die trying to do something. I probably had swum close to a kilometer at this point. I can't feel my hands, my fingers aren't working. And my mom had miraculously found an old moldy box on the shoreline. It was covered in moss, and she had kicked it open and out had fallen a brand new rope. And so she was able to throw that rope to my father, who was able to throw the rope to me for the last few feet and pull me back to shore.
What's interesting about that is that's actually the one single sport in which women are more physically capable than men, is cold water swimming. Women's bodies, because they have different fat distribution, are actually better able to retain heat.
The fact that I am a triathlete, and so I'm confident in swimming long distances in open water that tends to be cold, because in Canada, most of the open water is cold.
Taking action like this, I'd say, yeah, it's perhaps a combination of everything. The values I've been raised with, knowing about trucks since I followed my father while he transported goods around. I've been on long trips with him. Yeah, indeed, I know about trucks.
I had a tool, I had a key that nobody else had. And I was able to use that key to help a lot of people. And I knew the responsibility that goes behind it.
What Nelson Mandela has said is, I learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. People who donate kidneys to strangers or do other altruistic things, not people who are insensitive to fear. It's just they are able to overcome it when there's somebody else who needs their help more than they do.
During the process, I got fear, but the adrenaline was so powerful trying to get to my friends that the fear became minimal. I knew I could die any moment. I expected that something will happen, but I wasn't worried about me.
I realized I truly forgot about myself. I mean, I have 2 children, a wife. I mean, yeah, I have a family. I'm not crazy enough to go jump right in front of a truck.
At the time, I can easily say I was an adrenaline junkie. Rock climbing, kayaking, risking my life was the idea. This day was very beautiful, sunny, no winds. I'm an avid rock climber, so I take advantage of really nice weather and arrived at the Glen maybe about 4 hours earlier than I had previously arranged in that day. The unpredictability of nature was more prevalent that day than ever. A woman or a child screaming breaks the meditation. These sounds were getting closer and closer to me, like consistently. So I scrambled down this very short cliff across the boulders and had a view of 3 people floating face down in the water. So then I made the decision to jump in the water. From whitewater kayaking for years, I understand that as I jump into this water, I know it's going to carry me wherever it wants, and I know not to fight water. You let it just take you. I just thought, like, as I'm going past them, I grab on to who's there first, and it was the father, 42-year-old male, and weight-wise, he, was probably twice my weight. His face is purple. He hasn't been breathing. I start yelling at him. I yell at him like I try to think about what his father yelled at him like in these seconds, and be like, wake the fuck up! Wake up or you're gonna die! Wake up right now! I gotta go for your kids! Wake up or you're gonna die! You're gonna die! And he opens his eyes. I'm like, okay, let's do this. You see where you are? And he remembers, right, that he jumped in the water. And he's like, oh my God. He remembers and he starts swimming for the shore immediately, right, with me. Like, I'm holding on this way and the rapid's going this way and I'm trying to push this man up a slippery rock. He falls back in 2 or 3 times and I'm like, you're on your own. Same thing, right? Same situation. Go out, run into one of them, grab onto them, start swimming. So it was the 17-year-old. And as I'm swimming, I choose to do the same thing and yell at him because he's unconscious to get that process going of getting oxygen, right? It worked. Woke up, starts helping me, gets shore. Same process. Back out again. And then it's the 14-year-old, the youngest, and I was pretty sure he was dead. So I just dragged him to shore, and it works. And he starts puking everywhere. There's puking water out of his lungs and his stomach, and that's what they're all doing. And After that, I became uncomfortable. I didn't realize what I did. And then I got really scared. So I left.
It helps if there's nobody else around to help. There's this famous phenomenon called the bystander effect, where, ironically, the more people are around when somebody needs help, the less likely they are to be helped, because everybody looks at everybody else around them and they cue off each other's uncertainty, and oftentimes nobody ends up helping. But if you're the only person who can possibly help, you're much more likely to take action. As to why the amygdalas of people who are altruistic are more sensitive, it's hard to say. We only captured their amygdalas at a moment in time. But almost certainly it's a combination of genetic differences and life experiences, which is true for almost everything in psychology. There's very little that's unrelated to genetics and unrelated to life experience.
I can remember something that my father told me about myself, and I was addicted to climbing stairs. So my father, they had to figure out a solution to keeping me off the stairs. So my father built me like 3 steps and then a flat spot and 3 steps. And so I would just keep going back up and over this box, like crawling up steps. I was a water baby. My mom didn't have me in water, but I was in water the rest of my life. And that, yeah, maybe everything in my youth went straight to that moment.
My trigger, I believe, was my childhood, my mother. My mother was compassionate. I always saw her helping other people, always giving food to the homeless, taking care of the neighbor. I always admire her because of her compassion.
I've been the first on the scene at 2 major car accidents, 2 major water skiing incidents, and a heart attack. I've had to perform CPR 3 times. As a civilian, I think that's fairly rare. So I understand, I believe that for some reason I attract emergency situations, I attract disasters.
Some people in my family were members of the resistance, people who've been persecuted during the war. My grandparents have been exterminated. So somewhere there's some continuity, the continuity of the fight, whatever that fight may be. The thought that against oppression, against people who seek to harm others, quite simply, there's a form of resistance. There was a movie I wanted to watch on TV because I'm in charge of Télé au Monde along with Jean-Luc Anglade. It was a crime film. So I got started, but I was not really liking it, so I left it in the background while working, and I'd cast a glance at it once in a while. And so when I started hearing peculiar noises, like gunshots, I thought it was in the movie.
Bonsoir, bienvenue dans Soir 3 Week-end, édition spéciale après les 3 attaques simultanées qui ont eu lieu ce soir à Paris.
Une fusillade a éclaté, une prise d'otage est en cours, les hommes du raid sont en action.
9:40 p.m. I'm at the window asking what's going on. And through some kind of automatic behavior, probably because of my job, I start taking some pictures because the scene is quite unusual. And following that, for the same reasons, I start shooting a video. What's happening? I'm trying to understand what's going on, but at this point, at 9:50 p.m., there's only silence, nothing. And it's because it's silent, because I think the shooting is over, that I decide to go downstairs to welcome people in my building, just in case there's someone around, so they can take shelter in the courtyard. There's only one person, lying on the ground on the pavement on the right-hand side of my door. He looks dead. I mean, he's not moving. And there's a man with a black T-shirt in the street. I'm going to the right to try to pull him, to see if the person is dead or not. And when I get there, I see he's moving. So he's alive. So me and the person in black start pulling him over about 10 meters to shelter him in the building's hallway. He got shot in the legs. The two panels of the door are open, so I decide to close them. But before closing them, I lean outside to see what's going on in the street, because it's still incredibly silent. And as I lean outside, as I let just a fraction of my body stick out to see what's going on in the street, I hear a sound, and a bullet hits me in the arm. Blood splashes. I'm panicking. It hurts, it burns, but at the same time, I'm still awake. So I lean against the wall, and I think to myself, if I fall to the ground, it means I'm dead. And if I keep standing up, it means I'm alive. I didn't see the killer. I mean the terrorist. And so afterwards, I kept thinking that someone would come and kill me. I was traumatized. Of course, it's not like that, but it's simply something that remains there, that is still very much alive in this context. There's a trauma. It's an extremely strong violence. Heroism is something to put in perspective. But there's courage, the courage to go see if this person needs help. At this time, I had this courage. Good, especially since I made it in one piece. And that's what makes a difference. There is no heroism, but there is courage.
I never told my kids about my story. And when I explained the whole thing to them, my daughter is 7. They understand now. They understand the importance of being sacrificial for others. And it was amazing for me that they started making drawings, my father the hero, and things like that. I said, you know, I want to be your hero, nobody else's heroes. I want to be your example, nobody else's example. You see?
It's really common for people who are very altruistic or heroic to resist being called a saint or a hero. And I think this is because there's a really intrinsic relationship between altruism and humility, with humility being this sense that you are no better than anybody else, that your own worth is no greater than anybody else's. And if you think about it, it makes sense that somebody who believes that will be much more likely to sacrifice their own welfare to help somebody else's, because they believe that everybody is of equal value rather than themselves being so much better or more important than anybody else.
As a human
being, we are born naked, and we will go away naked. We will not be taking anything when we die. I'm not sure where I come from exactly. I came to the orphanage when I was 4. I was seen as a big brother. Although it's not a blood tie, it's much stronger, both with the orphanage and the children.
माथिको रिलेसन थियो मेरो त्यहाँको संस्थासँग र त्यहाँको भाइ बहिनीहरुसँग.
It really felt like a ghost was shaking the house. Until then, I had never heard the sound of an earthquake. I felt like a giant flame would suddenly burst out from the ground. There were 4 or 5 children around me. They drew closer to me. Since I was, in a way, their big brother, they grabbed me. We went downstairs, all the way to the living room. We had a hard time moving. We fell, but in the end we made it outside. I brought the kids to safety, but the ground was still shaking. The ones who had eaten before it started were sleeping in their room. I thought about them, because I noticed some kids were missing. I was thinking, where are the others? I had just seen walls collapse. I was hoping it wasn't too late to do something. And so I just rushed inside the house, whilst the ground was still shaking. That's when I saw the children on the swaying beds. I caught 3, one on my shoulder, one by the hand, and the last one grabbed me, and I brought all of them outside. Roads and buildings have collapsed. Kathmandu is devastated. The state of emergency has been declared.
I heard screams and cries. I saw a horrible sight. I was shattered. I felt a deep sorrow. Thank God there haven't been any casualties at the orphanage. I truly feel like God sent me here. He made me forget that I am Ishwar, that I should have saved my own skin first. I helped others because God made me forget who I was and asked me to help them.
So, there have been people who in the past, this includes Darwin, who suggested that risky altruism performed to benefit strangers somehow violates the laws of nature, right? It's just inconsistent with the laws of biology. And I think a lot of people, because of this, are prone to using supernatural terms like guardian angel and saint to refer to people who are heroic or very altruistic. And I would encourage you not to use these words. I know it's tempting, but I think it's sort of selling altruists out because it kind of undercuts the fact that engaging in costly altruism to help strangers is actually a really human phenomenon, right? It's built really deep into the core of who we are, and it can definitely be explained through natural mechanisms.
I'm not an angel. I'm far from that. I mean, I was named hero. I've called every beautiful thing. I say, no, I am a survivor.
I'm afraid to face the families. It's like I'm ashamed of not having been able to do more. When I was given the Legion of Honor, there was a moment when everyone cheered. That cheer freed me. In a sense, it reassured me.
Becomes a responsibility because when you survive such an event, traumatic as it is, it gives you a new mission in life, and it gives you a sense, a deeper sense of meanings of friendship or what is important in life. That is not the job that you have, that is not the money that you need. The most important thing in life is your family and your friends. That's it. Empathy, empathy, empathy. Empathy is everything.